This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Pieces of me, they run around in your head, they live rent-free. There's nothing you can do about it, and I feel no pain, and I feel no shame. It's kinda cute, goddamn, you're so in love with me. I've been caught up in nothing, I'm ready to go. Been a while since you smiled, I'm taking it slow. And all those words you said, they're just inside my head. 25, I'm alive and I'm ready to go.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, I think we already know that, but that's perfectly fine. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging out on this lovely Friday. So what does that mean? It means that it's Freeform Friday, and that means that it's April the 20th. Listen to me. April the 10th of 2026 is exactly what that means when it's all said and done. So there you go. So what is going on today? Well, it's Freeform, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Okay, some infiltration in Radio Big is kind of the way that it goes in regard to the things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is what happens as we are hanging out doing all of the lovely stuff that we get to do. So how are you? How has the last 24 hours or so been? Because that's always an important question as we come out and hang out and do all of our fun stuff. No doubt about that. So a lot of stuff going on today as we are talking. So let me kind of tell you what happens today. If you're not familiar with our show normally consists of safety in the news. Not that that will be any different today. But what ends up taking place is that we play Freeform on Friday. And what does that mean? Well, if you kind of hang out with Radio Big, we kind of play a rambunctious bunch of stuff as we are hanging out doing our stuff on the radio. But on Fridays, even on Safety FM and on the Rated R Safety Show, we're just trying to play catch up with all of the stuff that we didn't talk about earlier in the week. So if you're good with that, I am definitely for sure good with it as well. So we'll talk a little bit about everything that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So if you are good to move forward, why don't we start off right away with talking about the week in review? But before I get to that, let me just say this. If you want to interact with the show, it's simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging will set everything up for you. So there you go. Let's get into the week in review.
Iran says Israel violated the deal by launching its largest strikes on Lebanon since the war began. But the U.S. and Israel say Lebanon and Hezbollah, Iran's proxy in that country, they were never meant to be included in the truce.
First Lady Melania Trump, the First Lady, coming before the cameras at the White House this afternoon to make a statement denying any ties to Jeffrey Epstein. saying Epstein did not introduce her to the president, and the First Lady saying Epstein's victims still have the right to testify before Congress if they choose, that they should be heard.
Gas prices in the U.S. now at $4.16 a gallon, up $1.20 since the war began. And U.S. crude oil just under $100 per barrel.
Nearly 3 years after actor Matthew Perry died of a ketamine overdose, Jasveen Sangha, the woman who supplied the drugs, has been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison.
And it's over! Hail to the champions! Hail to Michigan! For the first time in 37 years, the Wolverines win the national title.
Artemis II's lunar loop was a flyby lasting 7 hours. Ahead, Earth and the risks of re-entry. Tomorrow evening, the capsule will hit our upper atmosphere barreling 24,000 miles per hour. Temperatures will reach 5,000 degrees. A protective heat shield under the capsule, more than 16 feet in diameter, has to keep the crew alive.
The crew of the Artemis II mission set a record for traveling farther from Earth than any human ever has. They went to the far side of the moon. The bad news is they have to come back to Earth. They asked if they could stay, but NASA said, no, it's too expensive.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2026 Masters is now officially underway.
So there you go. There is the week in review with everything that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So that is it. That's the show. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. So that's what's happened so far this week. Who knows what the hell we'll be talking about by this time next week, because that's just kind of how that goes. But we are taking definitely a look around, so that's kind of doing some catch up, if you don't mind, in regards to the stuff that was happening, because that's kind of how we do the whole thing.
Duh.
So with that being said, here's what we're going to do. I am going to go into the mystery box here and bring in my friends from Feature Story News. They're going to go ahead and tell us everything that's going on, because that's kind of what they do. That's their gig. And then we'll come back and we'll talk some, and then kind of play catch up with what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So if you're good with that, I'm good with it, and we can get moving. So let me go ahead and get my friends from Feature Story News over here, and we'll get rolling right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunsen in Mumbai. Pakistan is preparing to host talks between US and Iranian officials to try to negotiate an end to the conflict. The delegations will meet in the capital, Islamabad, with talks expected to begin on Saturday. Hiram Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
Well, the officials in the capital are tight-lipped. They are not revealing much details at this stage. And the reason is that Islamabad is being very cautious because they do not want any security breach, and also they do not want to be revealed to the media that could derail the peace process. But what we do know is that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif visited the venue of the talks where these talks are supposed to be held, and that venue is not even disclosed to the Pakistani local media to review the security situation that's been put in place by the Pakistani government. The country's interior minister himself is taking care of the security arrangements. Army has been deployed in the red zone of the capital. Red zone is an area that is home to important government buildings and diplomatic missions.
US President Donald Trump has criticized Iran for doing a very poor job in its handling of oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This comes as talks between Lebanon and Israel are set to take place at the US State Department in Washington next week, according to reports in US media, quoting a senior Israeli official. Trump has asked Israel to scale back its attacks on Lebanon, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to talks but not a ceasefire. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
These would be the first direct Israeli-Lebanese talks hosted by the US, though some Lebanese officials are reported as saying that Beirut has not yet received a formal invitation. They added that Lebanon has requested that talks and a ceasefire be announced simultaneously. Hezbollah militants had also demanded the Lebanese government call for a ceasefire before further steps are taken. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is making it clear that won't happen, saying there will be no ceasefire in Lebanon. US President Donald Trump said he asked Netanyahu to scale back his attacks in Lebanon and that the Israeli leader would go low-key. Iran and mediator Pakistan claim that Lebanon was part of the ceasefire deal, and Iran says that deal could be in jeopardy if fighting continues.
Melania Trump, in a rare public address, has denied any relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The US First Lady blasted what she calls lies linking her to the late convicted sex offender and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, and claimed the images circling online are fake.
The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I never been friends with Epstein.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. With a fragile ceasefire holding in the Middle East, India is scrambling to secure its energy supplies, sending 2 top ministers on a diplomatic mission to the Gulf. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar heads to the UAE, while Oil Minister Hardeep Singh Puri visits Qatar as New Delhi races to stabilise oil and gas imports. Ishan Garg tells us more from New Delhi.
India's Foreign Minister and Petroleum Minister are heading out for talks widely seen as more than diplomatic missions. They're also being seen as New Delhi's efforts to be at the centre of conversation, to secure its energy supplies, but also influence decision-making at the topmost level. However, energy security remains key after the Iran-US-Israel conflict disrupted nearly half of India's crude oil and most of its cooking gas supplies. Hardeep Singh Puri, the first Indian minister to visit the Gulf since the conflict began, is pressing Qatar to prioritize the reliability of long-term liquefied natural gas supplies.
The fertility rate in the US hit another record low last year. Fresh federal data shows that the number of births fell by 1% to just over 3.6 million. Tony Waterman has more.
The U.S. fertility rate has been in decline since 2007. Nearly 23% fewer babies are born now than then. Teenage pregnancies have seen the sharpest declines and are now sitting at record lows. The data shows that fertility rates among women in their 30s and 40s are actually increasing, but it's not enough to offset a slowdown among younger women.
Here's the main news again. Pakistan is preparing to host talks between US and Iranian officials to try to negotiate an end to the conflict. Talks between Lebanon and Israel are set to take place at the US State Department in Washington next week, according to US media reports. Melania Trump, in a rare public address, has denied any relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That is the latest feature story news. Rebecca Bunden reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety Transmission, The Collapse of the Construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, PhD. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
The personalities on this radio show have been diagnosed with terminal levels of sarcasm. The prognosis? There's nothing we can do about it.
Okay, so I guess those things happen as we are talking anyways. Currently 16 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because this is what happens. Okay, so take a listen to this. Yesterday, Inside Edition did a story about people attacking food delivery robots, and people are pissed because the robots are taking human jobs. Take a listen to this.
Somebody knock him over. Who is it?
This guy sees the robots as the enemy. Taking people's jobs, man. There's even a derogatory name for them. Clankers, taken from the Star Wars animated series.
Hey, clanker.
Hate clankers so much. Some people are climbing on the robots like a horse or harassing them for using the sidewalk.
I'm trying to walk and you block me.
Look at this. It's almost like the cart feels bullied. After a few minutes, it backs up and goes around the dudes.
Look at him. Oh, he's scared.
Okay, so clankers is what they're calling them? I mean, I don't understand. Okay, listen, I can understand frustration on anything that would be potentially taking anyone's job. I get that. I mean, that makes sense to me. Don't get that the wrong way. But I don't get, there's certain things that I understand and there's certain things that I don't understand. So here's what sometimes happens. And let's just be realistic. Things price themselves out of the market. And I'm not saying, hey, listen, the robot needs to be doing everything. But there are certain jobs that people just don't want to do. Or it's difficult to find people to do that particular job. And I'm not agreeing with the robos. I'm not disagreeing with the robos. I'm just saying this is what happens, and this is how technology starts changing. Now, I think we're kind of in one of those weird spots right now where everything is kind of changing in real time, and we're seeing it, so it becomes very weird as we are talking. So let's get into some other biz, because that's what we do around here. So take a listen to this. First Lady Melania Trump made an unexpected on-camera statement from the White House yesterday, forcefully denying any relationship or connection to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell. She said that fake images and statements about her and Epstein's have circulated over the years, and called the allegations false smears from political motivated individual. Melania Trump emphasized that she had never been friends with Epstein and was not one of the victims, and that Epstein did not introduce her to Donald Trump. She said her first encounter with Epstein was in a 2000 event that she attended with her husband, and she had no knowledge of this criminal behavior at the time. And let's not forget about this too, because this was another portion that I thought was hilarious when I watched this, is that she also said that she had made reference to this in her book, Melania. She didn't say this during the actual conversation, which I was like, hold on, is this a plug all of a sudden for a book? But here's what she had to say. Take a listen. This is just a very short clip.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell.
Okay, so that's what she had to say. What do you think there in regards to some of the stuff that's going on inside of the world of the multiverse? Definitely makes it interesting when it's all said and done. No doubt about that. So what do you think here? So that's just a question. Just a question of your thoughts of what the heck is going on. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, no doubt about that. Okay, so take a listen to this one real quick. In Hillsborough County, Florida, deputies pulled off a life or death rescue after a woman car veered off the road and plunged into a retention pond on Sunday just after 9 p.m. The woman called 911 as water rushed into the vehicle. She told the operator, "I'm going to drown. I don't know how to swim. Please help me." Deputies arrived within minutes, jumped straight into the water, smashed through the car window, and pulled her out of the vehicle and continued sinking. They brought her to safely to the shore where she was treated for minor injuries. The sheriff's dive team later removed the submerged vehicle. Sheriff Chad Chronister praised his team, saying their fast, decisive action saved the woman's life and showed exactly what they're trained to do when seconds matter. Take a listen.
I'm in the lake. I'm 7 years at a horse. I'm in the lake. I'm going to drown. I don't know how to swim. Please, I'm going to drown. I lost control of the vehicle and it fell in. Please, oh,
Are you able to open the door?
The doors are closed. I cannot swim. It's filling up with water.
Okay, I have help coming.
The window. We need to break the window. I got it. Hey.
Right? That's just pure craziness there when you start talking about it. So what do you think? What do you think about that one? Just some interesting stuff as we are talking. Okay, let's continue talking. The Artemis 2 crew will return to Earth later today. And in this little clip, astronaut Victor Glover talks about the splashdown. Take a listen.
I'll be honest and say I've actually been thinking about entry since April 3rd, 2023, when we got assigned to this mission. And one of the first press conferences we were asked, what are we looking forward to? And I said splashdown. And it's kind of humorous, but it's literal as well, that we have to get back. There's so much data that you've seen already, but all the good stuff is coming back with us. There's so many more pictures, so many more stories. And gosh, I haven't even begun to process what we've been through. and riding a fireball through the atmosphere is profound as well. So I have to answer that question later. I'm not sure, but I can tell you it's a lot. And lifelong memories. I'm going to be thinking about and talking about all of these things for the rest of my life, for sure.
Yeah, I would hope so. One would hope that you'd be talking about this stuff for the rest of your life as you are going through it. So no doubt about that. Here's the question that I keep on thinking about. You know how long sometimes some plane rides feel? Imagine a 250,000 mile ride on how that must feel when it's all said and done. Like, seriously, I mean, what are your thought processes there when it's when you're going through the whole thing? I'm just asking because I would just want to have a better understanding of what the hell's going on. So before I forget, let's talk about this. Before the 2026 Masters officially teed off on Augusta National yesterday, the tournament opened with the beloved tradition. The honorary starters, golf legends Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson stepped onto the first tee to launch the festivities. Take a listen.
The Masters Tournament's first international champion and winner of 3 green jackets. From South Africa, please welcome Mr. Gary Player. We proudly welcome back our 6-time Masters champion and one of golf's great icons. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Nicklaus. Please welcome Mr. Tom Watson. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2026 Masters is now officially underway. Enjoy the tournament.
Okay, so that was off yesterday in regards of the things that were going on. So what do you think there? Definitely some interesting times as we are talking. Okay, take a listen to this. Arkansas athlete Meredith Smith has officially earned the Guinness World Record after running half a marathon while wearing 55 T-shirts at once. She completed the Fort Smith Half Marathon on March the 30th of 2025, finishing in under 3 hours and 30 minutes despite the massive extra weight. Guinness has now confirmed that her title for the most T-shirts worn during a half marathon female. Smith said the achievement was deeply personal. She began running in 2013 as part of the weight loss journey and wearing dozens of shirts for the record to attempt to symbolize how far she's come. She told Guinness that running with all that added weight was like stepping back into her own shoes to physically see how far she's come. So there you go. What do you think? Definitely some interesting ones. I take a look at this and I go, you know, you have to sometimes go back to some weird things and just see how things are going. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Okay, take a listen to this real quick because, you know, when the world gets weird,
it gets real weird.
Police in Hartboro, Pennsylvania, are dealing with one of the strangest thefts that they've ever seen. 2 men stole 96 bananas from Wawa convenience store on April the 4th. Surveillance footage helped police quickly identify the pair who took the black Hyundai Santa Cruz. Once located, the suspects admitted to the theft and told investigators that it was a drunken mistake. They immediately paid Wawa back, which was all the store requested, so no charges were filed. Hartboro police leaned into the humor, saying that the investigation didn't monkey around and that they don't expect any more monkey business from the banana bandits. As for the bananas themselves, authorities have no idea what happened to them. So there you go. Maybe somebody really just wanted some banana splits. I have no clue what the hell's going on here. Like, what in the hell would you steal 96 bananas for? It's kind of a weird one when you really start thinking about it. Because what are you doing exactly? What do you need 96 bananas for? It's just a weird case when it's all said and done. Okay, so take a listen to this. Sometimes straight out of the techno horror movie unfolded in Wuhan on the night of March the 31st. More than, 100 self-driving robo-taxis, Baudi's autonomous service Apollo Go all malfunction at the same time, grinding to a halt across the city and leaving passengers stranded, some locked inside of the cars for about 90 minutes starting at 8:57. Wuhan traffic authorities were flooded with reports that robotaxis stopped in the middle of the roads, hazard lights blinking, some sitting on heavy traffic, others lightly bumped by surrounding vehicles. No injuries were reported, but the chaos was real. One woman described her being trapped on an overpass surrounded by a dump truck, unable to reach the customer service. She said that every call ended the same scripted line. A specialist has been dispatched before the rescue request was eventually canceled. The root cause? Baudi offered a vague explanation, possibly a system failure. Early things suggest that the issue came from the Apollo Go's centralized management system, which controls all vehicles simultaneously. When that system hiccups, every car feels it. The incident has sparked major questions about the safety of unmanned robotaxis, especially when a single glitch can freeze the entire fleet.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R, safety show.
Okay, so think about this for a moment, because I think we can kind of play it on both sides of the coin here if you really want to go down that path. So what happens if you have a single point operator inside of a vehicle and they start having a health-related issue? And let's talk about a severe health-related issue. Well, that's going to make that vehicle come to a halt too. I'm not saying that, hey, let's justify what's going on with side of a system that has a single point failure system, but you have to look at both sides of the coin here when it's all said and done. So I don't know. Becomes very interesting. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this. The Texas lottery officials say that a massive $78 million Lotto Texas jackpot is still sitting on claim, and the clock is running out. The winning ticket was sold in Gordon and Bate Tackle in Brownsville for the November 15th drawing, but the winner has only until May the 14th at 5 p.m. to come forward. Under Texas rules, players get 180 days to claim their prize. After that, the money goes back to the state program approved by legislature. Let's see. The mystery winner had already selected the cash value option, which could pay $43,757,223.10, but only if they show up in time. To claim the jackpot, the ticket holder must call the Texas Lottery, schedule an appointment, and present the ticket in person at the headquarters. The deadline could only be extended for certain military personnel. The winning numbers were 7, 17, 23, 28, 39, 48. Lotto Texas drawing happens every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So there you go. There you go. Some stuff going on right there as we are talking. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you this next story, and this is not to make light of anything, but it's definitely an interesting one. A British pastor has been charged with gross negligence of manslaughter after a man drowned during a live stream baptism in Birmingham. Prosecutors say that 48-year-old Cheryl Bartley was acting as a pastor during the October 2023 ceremony when the 61-year-old Robert Smith drowned in a small paddling pool as about a dozen people watched Smith. And Brixton Barber, grandfather of 7 and Parkinson's patient, was pronounced dead at the scene. The event was organized by Life Changing Ministries, an apostolic church with mostly online presence. The live stream was cut later and removed from Facebook. Smith, originally from Jamaica, had already been baptized but wanted a fresh ceremony to become born-again believer. Bartley claimed that she had a vision of Smith dancing with Jesus, and she's scheduled to appear in court on May the 14th. So a baptism live stream gone wrong. It's not what the people mean when they say immersive experience. That's for sure. And a paddling pool baptism because nothing says holy like an inflatable from Tesco. And 12 people watching are not one said. He said maybe we should lift him up from now. So I don't know. It's very interesting when it's all said and done, when you start taking a look at all of this stuff, because it is definitely some weird times when we are talking. Anyways, with that being said, we would normally do a main story at this time, but not today because it is Freeform Friday.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunden in Mumbai. Pakistan is preparing to host talks between US and Iranian officials to try to negotiate an end to the conflict. The delegations will meet in the capital, Islamabad, with talks expected to begin on Saturday. Hira Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
Well, the officials in the capital are tight-lipped. They are not revealing much details at this stage. And the reason is that Islamabad is being very cautious because they do not want any security breach, and also they do not want to be revealed to the media that could derail the peace process. But what we do know is that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif visited the venue of the talks where these talks are supposed to be held, and that venue is not even disclosed to the Pakistani local media to review the security situation that's been put in place by the Pakistani government. The country's interior minister himself is taking care of the security arrangements. Army has been deployed in the red zone of the capital. Red zone is an area that is home to important government buildings and diplomatic missions.
US President Donald Trump has criticized Iran for doing a very poor job in its handling of oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz. This comes as talks between Lebanon and Israel are set to take place at the US State Department in Washington next week, according to reports in US media, quoting a senior Israeli official. Trump has asked Israel to scale back its attacks on Lebanon, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to talks but not a ceasefire. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
These would be the first direct Israeli-Lebanese talks hosted by the US, though some Lebanese officials are reported as saying that Beirut has not yet received a formal invitation. They added that Lebanon has requested that talks and a ceasefire be announced simultaneously. Hezbollah militants had also demanded the Lebanese government call for a ceasefire before further steps are taken. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is making it clear that won't happen, saying there will be no ceasefire in Lebanon. US President Donald Trump said he asked Netanyahu to scale back his attacks in Lebanon and that the Israeli leader would go low-key. Iran and mediator Pakistan claim that Lebanon was part of the ceasefire deal, and Iran says that deal could be in jeopardy if fighting continues.
Melania Trump, in a rare public address, has denied any relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The US First Lady blasted what she calls lies linking her to the late convicted sex offender and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, and claimed the images circling online are fake.
The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I've never been friends with Epstein.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN. With a fragile ceasefire holding in the Middle East, India is scrambling to secure its energy supplies, sending 2 top ministers on a diplomatic mission to the Gulf. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar heads to the UAE, while Oil Minister Hardeep Singh Puri visits Qatar as New Delhi races to stabilise oil and gas imports. Ishan Garg tells us more from New Delhi.
India's Foreign Minister and Petroleum Minister are heading out for talks widely seen as more than diplomatic missions. They're also being seen as New Delhi's efforts to be at the centre of conversation, to secure its energy supplies, but also influence decision-making at the topmost level. However, energy security remains key after the Iran-US-Israel conflict disrupted nearly half of India's crude oil and most of its cooking gas supplies. Hardeep Singh Puri, the first Indian minister to visit the Gulf since the conflict began, is pressing Qatar to prioritize the reliability of long-term liquefied natural gas supplies.
The fertility rate in the US hit another record low last year. Fresh federal data shows that the number of births fell by 1% to just over 3.6 million. Tony Waterman has more.
The U.S. fertility rate has been in decline since 2007. Nearly 23% fewer babies are born now than then. Teenage pregnancies have seen the sharpest declines and are now sitting at record lows. The data shows that fertility rates among women in their 30s and 40s are actually increasing, but it's not enough to offset a slowdown among younger women.
Here's the main news again. Pakistan is preparing to host talks between US and Iranian officials to try to negotiate an end to the conflict. Talks between Lebanon and Israel are set to take place at the US State Department in Washington next week, according to US media reports. Melania Trump, in a rare public address, has denied any relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. That is the latest feature story news. Rebecca Bundin reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
I've been laying fire beside my bed. I've been warming up for what's ahead. And you've got ice in your shoes. You're fixing to lose your mind. Your mind. Your mind every time. I've been caught up in nothing. I'm ready to go.
Okay, sounds like they're ready to go right now as we are hanging out 42 minutes past the top of the hour here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. This is Ready to Go by Seth Beamer. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. A lot of stuff always going on inside of the multi, because that is what happens. Yeah. So there you go. So a lot of stuff happening inside of the world here. Yeah, we would like to thank Seth Beamer for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that, as we are talking and doing all of our stuff. Here we go. Let's continue talking about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. And click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that. Okay, so go there. It can change your life for you. I am not joking as I say these things. That information that is there is so important and so crucial that it's not even funny. So there you go. TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. With that being said, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is what we do. So let's talk about this for a moment, because this is coming up. Listen, today is the last day, 11:59 Eastern time. The prices will go up for this event taking place in Orlando. We're calling it Reality Shift, an observational symposium. It's going to be Nick Weatherly talking about behavior-based safety, Todd Conklin talking about human and organizational performance, and I will be there talking about Signal Trilogy. So there you go. All you have to do is either scan the QR code that's on the page right there, if you're on the video streamer. If you're not, all you need to do then is go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io. to go in there and take a look around. Like I said, 11:59 tonight, Eastern time. Ticket prices go up. So get them while we're still having the foundation tickets around, because after that, they will not be available. They will only be available in standard ticket pricing. So just FYI. So that's safetyfm.io for more information. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here, because it is Freeform Friday, so we have to talk a little bit about everything that is going on, because why would I not do that? I would be doing something else if I wasn't doing that, no doubt about this. So, where do we want to start? Where do we want to start here? Should we go a little bit serious because we got a little bit of time? So take a listen to this. A former FBI agent says that the latest so-called ransom notes sent to TMZ about Nancy Guthrie are part of a sick plot designed to torment the family for quick cash. The new message, which claimed to know who kidnapped Guthrie and even where her body could be found, arrived the same day that Savannah Guthrie returned to the Today Show, something former agent Jennifer Conifender believes was intentional. She told Newsweek that the time was absolutely meant to further the torment her and her family were going through. Guthrie has been missing since February the 1st, and several dubious ransom notes have surfaced since then. The two latest came from the same anonymous sender who months ago demanded 1 Bitcoin for information. In Monday's note, the person first claimed that Guthrie was dead, then claimed that they'd seen her alive in Sonora, Mexico, and offered to hand over the kidnappers for half a Bitcoin. Now half after an arrest. Confinder says that shifting stories that the relative of small Bitcoin demand point to a scammer, not someone with real information. She noted that the sender truly knew anything, they'd be going after $1.2 million reward offered by the family and law enforcement, not a crypto payout. So there you go. What do you think there? Just kind of a weird one when it's all said and done. So there you go. Okay, so take a listen to this yesterday. This one came about, and we'll talk about this real quick. President Trump issued a lengthy Truth Social post yesterday blasting right-wing commentators Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones after they criticized his handling of the war in Iran. He labeled them as nut jobs, losers, and attention seekers, accusing them of opposing his Iran policy for clicks and publicity. Trump claimed that the group will say anything for relevance and argued their views do not represent the MAGA movement. He also did have a reference inside of there that they are doing anything for clicks because they've all been kicked off of TV. Interesting wording. When it's all said and done, if you really start giving it some thoughts as we are talking, no doubt about that. So there you go. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. So there you go. I don't know. So take a listen to this. I just want to reference this real quick. Hoda is officially heading back to the Today Show, and fans won't have to wait long. Savannah Guthrie and Craig Melvin opened yesterday's show with news that Hoda will return on Monday, filling in for Melvin while he takes well-deserved vacation. Guthrie joked that they're trying a new host, while Melvin played along, saying that that he heard of her and he won't be watching while he's off. So there you go. Some interesting stuff as we are talking. Anyways, let's keep some stuff a little bit more positive. We'll actually bring in some John Smalls. Let him tell us about what in the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute as he goes through that whole thing. Here we go.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by James. Peter Drucker said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." I had a nice conversation recently that reminded me of this. I was talking to a guy who was really being kind of down about his business and everything else, really. He began believing the negative news. He was watching things that had absolutely no impact on him, but he internalized these things so much that he was actually seeing the negative impacts. He was letting these outside forces impact his internal plans. I don't care what other people are doing. It doesn't change my plans. I try to focus my time and effort on the things that are closest to me and the things that I can actually adjust to affect change in my world. The little person on the TV screen can talk about how bad it is, but I want to focus on how to make it good right here for our people. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
In Yemen, Houthi forces have launched a fresh round of missile and drone attacks on merchant ships in the Red Sea, raising fresh fears about the security of a key global shipping route.
War-related strikes have hit several vessels in the past 24 hours, prompting the U.S. and allied navies to scramble fighter jets and shoot down incoming drones. Port authorities in the region say some companies are rerouting cargo ships around South Africa to avoid the narrow passage, driving up transit times and costs. Gary Beck reporting.
The Dow and Nasdaq each gained several percentage points as investors welcomed the temporary let-up in conflict-driven volatility.
Energy shares fell while defense and technology stocks rose, reflecting bets on less disruption to global trade and more stable fuel supplies. Analysts caution that the gains could fade quickly if the ceasefire breaks down or if new sanctions or attacks rattle markets again. Kyle Norris reporting.
Washington and Tehran have announced a conditional 2-week ceasefire after more than 5 weeks of war, but the shaky deal is already under pressure from ongoing clashes and mixed signals from both sides.
The US and Iran agreed to halt major attacks after Pakistan helped broker a limited truce tied to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump has warned that the deal could collapse if Iran does not fully comply. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Israel has unleashed a wave of airstrikes across Lebanon that have killed more than 200 people and shattered hopes for a broader regional ceasefire in the Middle East.
The attacks hit the southern suburbs of Beirut, southern Lebanon, and the eastern Bekaa Valley with heavy explosives, leaving hundreds dead and more than 1,000 wounded. Lebanese officials say hospitals are overwhelmed, and many neighborhoods are now unsafe because of repeated raids. Chris Anderson reporting.
President Trump has ordered a wide-ranging review of federal agencies that could lead to deep cuts in the government workforce, sharpening the economic debate heading into the next budget cycle.
The White House Budget Office says the administration wants to shrink several agencies and move thousands of jobs into new structures, partly to pay for added defense and border spending. Labor leaders and some lawmakers warn that trimming staff could slow services like tax processing, infrastructure permits, and safety inspections. Lawrence Keller reporting.
In California, a fast-moving wildfire has scorched thousands of acres in the Sierra foothills, forcing evacuations and prompting emergency calls for volunteers to help with firefighting and shelter operations.
The blaze broke out in dry, windy conditions and spread rapidly across rugged terrain, blackening hillsides and threatening several rural communities. Fire crews have brought in aircraft and bulldozers to carve containment lines, while officials urge residents in nearby zones to pack emergency kits and be ready to leave at a moment's notice. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Big USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, let's start talking right away about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1849, safety pin is patented by Walter Hunt of the New York, patented the first safety pin ever. So there you go. That was back in 1849. In 1962, New York Yankee Mickey Mantle hits his 375th home run. In 1981, imprisoned IRA hunger striker Bobby Sands elected to British Parliament. In 1992, NHL strike ends after 10 days. And in 2010, actress Dixie Carter dies. So there you go. That's some things that happened back on this date. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Steven Seagal turned 75. Kenneth Babyface Edmonds turns 68. Katrina Lakarsh turns 66. Orlando Jones turns 58. Q-Tip, the rapper, just in case, turns 56 today. Laurel Bell Bundy, 45. Shyler Leah turns 44. Mandy Moore turns 42. And Haley Joel Osment turns, 38 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays that are going on. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Donald Trump is expected to attend the UFC event in Miami tomorrow night. And even as questions continue around the stability of Iran's ceasefire, he recently announced UFC President Dana White appeared to confirm Trump's plans during the live stream with Aiden Ross on Wednesday without naming him directly. White referred to Trump as the big guy and said, yeah, it's good to go back to Miami. So there you go. We got the big guy coming on Saturday, too. No additional details about the visit were provided. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is for $110 million. Tomorrow's Powerball jackpot is $35 million. Also, let's see. The 2026 Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue will feature 9 models. Are you hearing me? 9 models, including 3 standout athletes, WNBA star Nafisa Collier, Sophia Cunningham, along with U.S. sprinter Melissa Jefferson Wooden. The 3 were photographed in a range of swimsuits, South Seas Resort in Fort Myers, Florida. So far, there are only names confirmed so far for this year. A notable shift from last year, which included 10 athletes, among them Soon Lee, Eileen Gu, and Haley Von Lith. The issue is set to be released next month, so there you go. Also, before I forget, NASCAR, the Food City 500 NASCAR race airs on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 from Bristol Motor Speedway, in case you care about that stuff. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together as we've been hanging out here for the last hour or so. But here's the catch. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. You can stay right here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. Now, I'm telling you, these tickets go up in price after tonight for reality shifts at 11:59 Eastern. They will go up in price after that, so just FYI. SafetyFM.io, or just scan the little QR code that's on the screen to get you for the lower prices of the tickets. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, I would love to leave you with this. The strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. So think about that for a moment. And if I can't leave you with some words of advice, keep a spray bottle of diluted rubbing alcohol for patio furniture. Removes tree sap without damaging the surface. Some things to think about. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.